He's the man who pioneered modern IVF, helping an estimated 300,000 women fall pregnant. But now Alan Trounson is turning his attention from creating life to saving it. The renowned stem cell scientist has created new immunotherapies to target ovarian cancer and endometriosis, with clinical trials set to begin. And joining us now to discuss is the man himself, Professor Alan Trounson. Professor, thank you so much for your time. This is incredible. These are world-first immunotherapies. How do they work?
Well, it's interesting. We've been able to make what's called natural killer cells, and we make them originally from cord blood through a stem cell process. And these natural killer cells are the cells that usually are maintaining the body free of infection and cancer and other things, and any invasion of the body. And we've been able to make these, but also make them so that they target abnormalities like cancer. And we're focused on ovarian cancer because I have an interest there, but it's one of these diseases or conditions where there's very little treatment available for patients. So what we do is we actually make these cells and genetically engineer them in the lab, and then make them in very large numbers. And then we've done the work in animal models, in mice, to show that they work very effectively. And now we're working our way towards clinical trials through getting permission from the regulators to go ahead with those studies, we hope, next year.
This must be fairly exciting for you then, Professor, because it's quite a long road to get to this stage, isn't it? It is.
It's sort of some of the interests that have come is my stem cell interest in the early days of making stem cells, and these are sort of cells that grow endlessly, and you can then genetically engineer them very well and select them for the exact engineering edits that you want, and then you can then sort of form master cell banks that you then can differentiate into any cell of the body. And we've learned how to engineer them and differentiate them into T cells or natural killer cells or macrophages. But our natural killer cells are the ones that we want to try for ovarian cancer in the first place.
And primarily you are focusing on ovarian cancer, but this could also potentially work for breast cancer, pancreatic cancer, and potentially Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Well, I think in the first place we're focused on ovarian cancer because that's a dreadful problem for women. There's really very little treatment available, and 40% of women who normally diagnosed at stage 3 will not survive, and 20% it's diagnosed at stage 4, and that's when most patients are diagnosed at 3 and 4. Only 20% of them survive. So, this is the primary condition that we're aiming for. But we realise that the markers on endometriosis are the same markers that we're chasing down for ovarian cancer. So we thought this might be a side effect of our treatment, that if a woman had endometriosis, which is very common, she might, and ovarian cancer, we might cure both of these. And so we started to look whether our cells would destroy endometriosis, and indeed they do. So we think we can tackle both of those, and if it's successful, of course, with those targets, we call them CAR targets, chimeric antigen receptor targets, we could go after pancreatic cancer or other cancers, triple-negative breast cancer. So it's a matter of engineering in the right sort of target for these other diseases. And if that's the case, we hope that there'll be, real products there for therapy and will make a difference. But my concern is to try and do something, for these conditions that women really don't have any treatment for.
Professor, and I hope you don't mind me saying, but I know you're about to turn 80 in February. You could be in retirement, but you're doing a magnificent job here. So, Professor, thank you for your work and thank you for your time tonight with us.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you both.